Oh, it's telling me it's being recorded.
We're on the
Oh,
record.
I'm consenting to be recorded. Okay, nice. Good job, Zoom. Consent.
Very important in many states.
Yes. Hi, everyone. You see that we're live on right now? Okay, wow, that made a sound for a moment. Anyway, yeah, thank you everyone for joining. If this is your first Breaking the Glass session, just going to introduce myself real quick and give you a little bit of background about our program, and then hand it off to Mel, our moderator, who will kick off the session. But yeah, my name is Elizabeth Lamb. I'm the partnerships manager for Breaking the Glass. Breaking the Glass is a women's career development program and diversity inclusion initiative founded by Computer Futures. Computer Futures is a contract recruitment company that specializes in placing people in BI, Salesforce, software development, and also mobile talent as well. So if you are looking to hire mobile developers or get hired, find a new position, you can definitely reach out to Mel or somebody else from our team. We'd love to help you with that. But the reason this program got started is about 6 years ago, the leadership at Computer Futures knew that they wanted to do something to impact gender equity within the tech space. They started first having meetups around the Austin area, and then it just kind of grew and started taking a life of its own. We started hiring full-time staff to run the program, and now we're a national organization that provides content, about 3 times a month, different webinars, events, and it's been a lot of fun. I'll drop some links for how you can get involved on our social media. But for now, let's hear about mobile development and, all these amazing things that are going on in the space. And pass it over to Mel, who is just gonna lead us throughout this journey. Y'all have a good one, okay? I'll see you at the end. Bye.
Okay, bye. Thanks, Lam. Hello, everyone. I actually can't see who all's here, so hi, I'm Mel. I guess quick intro to who I am. Like Elizabeth said, I am a mobile-specific recruiter, an account manager here at Computer Futures. So most of my time is spent speaking to developers like the 3 ladies that are joining us today, as well as various others nationally. So to kind of kick things off, we'll go through some intros, and I'll just kind of go through each person so there's not confusion on saying hi, and they'll let you know kind of an intro on who they are and what they do. So Aaron, you're first in my corner.
All right. Hi, I'm Aaron. I've been doing Android development for about 10 years, I guess. At this point, I've been in all sorts of areas of the industry. Sorry, what all was our intro?
Everything just about how you got started with mobile.
How I got started in mobile development. All right. Yeah, I actually wanted to be a games dev. I was going to work at ArenaNet in a recession. They didn't hire anybody with no experience in a recession. So I ended up doing BlackBerry development out in Milford, Ohio. Sierra probably knows where that is.
I do.
Yeah. Yeah, the BlackBerry platform kind of failed. So they split us off. There were 16 of us in that group, and 4 of us ended up doing Android, 12 iOS, and I was the Android group. Kind of just career took off from there. I've done a little bit of everything from that point.
Cool. I was gonna guess game development if you can check out that chair, so makes sense.
I might be a Twitch streamer previously and hopefully in the future. Soon.
Cool. Well, we'll be sure to tune in. Let us know. You can send some links.
Cool, yeah.
Cool. Tamira, if you want to go next.
Yeah, my name is Tamira James, and well, what can I say? I guess I can start from the beginning. iOS engineer, started off my career in iOS development and kind of stuck with that primarily throughout my career until I kind of dove into developer evangelism, and we'll probably get into what that is a little bit maybe later. But yeah, developer evangelism, speaking across the world to educate developers, not only about mobile development, but other cool things in tech. So, and I'm also the founder of Women in Tech group called Technigal LA. And we basically teach women of all ages how to code and how to really just thrive in STEM, whether it's employment opportunities, educational opportunities, networking opportunities. We do everything for free. So yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
That's super cool. And we'll try to get a link for you as well and try to send some, I guess, like notes out to people, let them know how to get in touch with you for that. Sierra?
I'm Sierra. I'm a senior mobile consultant in Cincinnati, Ohio, which is how I know where Milford, Ohio is, right down the road. When I grew up, I wanted to be an ultra-fast laser physicist and graduated my physics degree and ended up at Ohio State pursuing a PhD in ultra-fast atomic physics, and then had a quarter-life crisis and realized I did not like lasers. So I ended up in a entry-level tech role at JP Morgan Chase. They were running a program to get women with STEM degrees, me, into their technology pipeline. And so I just kind of fell into a mobile role because I had a friend on that team and said, hey, that sounds cool. I have a phone, and have not looked back. So an unexpected career path into mobile tech.
Yeah, well, we're glad that you weren't doing lasers, and I'm sure the companies you've worked at also would agree that they're glad that your quarter life crisis came, I guess, if one can say that. Cool. Well, I guess I'll dive into kind of some of the points that we wanted to touch on to learn more about mobile. So I know everyone kind of touched on intros of a little bit about how they got to mobile. I guess we'll go around and maybe elaborate a little bit further or talk about one specific, I guess, memorable time within your career that really solidified for you that you enjoyed doing mobile, or in my case, I guess, mobile recruitment. And yeah, you can kind of go on to the next one after that. So I started with this company about year and a half, almost 2 years now. And, they told me, hey, you're going to be focusing on the mobile market. There's a lot of talented engineers that you'll be able to help out there, as well as just a high demand. As you guys know, I'm sure you get like a bajillion LinkedIn messages every day. And then, yeah, so since then I've managed to help out a bunch of different teams, both on the iOS and Android side, mostly native, sometimes cross-platform. I realized we probably should have tried to get a React Native person to join just so they could have some representation here, but that's okay. Yeah, so that's kind of, I guess, the main thing. I know we just placed, my moment, I guess, that I'm thinking of that really I enjoy mobile and like kind of solidified that was we recently placed a woman into one of the teams that we're working with. She had taken, I want to say, 1.5 to 2 years on maternity leave, which was a really exciting thing because for me, I kind of had hesitations when I saw the gap, but then, you talk to her and realize that she's just extremely technically strong, has architected a lot, can really help a team, and they saw that too, which was really exciting. She was very happy with that. So that was my moment. Aaron, if you want to go next.
Sure. Anything we want to like elaborate on?
I guess anything.
A rocky career. I have changed jobs a lot. The mobile industry can be very volatile, and depending on the projects that start up, what companies you join and the kind of shut down, you can move around a lot. But the thing that really solidified mobile development for me was a little company called Adore. They don't exist anymore, sadly. And that was the first time someone was like, "Hey, we need an Android app. You're it. Go." I'm like, oh, okay. All right. New project, go. And just built the entire app from the ground up. I was doing math to figure out how Google does their justified image stuff. I was, learning every new API I could think of to come up with the really weird things that the startup needed for their app. And just kind of seeing that going from, I have no idea what I'm doing here, to I have your entire app built for you it's kind of an incredible feeling. And with apps, it's kind of small enough that you can do that as a single engineer. It's not as easy to do that with something like, I don't know, VMware, right? It's too big.
Cool. Thank you for sharing. It's awesome. Yeah, that's exactly we're doing it. I've heard that a lot of times from different engineers. Yeah, tis the trend with mobile, I guess. Tamir?
While Aaron was speaking, I was trying to think. I was like, one memorable moment, just one. And there's so many just throughout my career. I can't even think of one that's just like, oh my gosh, this is something that I really have to talk about. There's been so many crazy moments in terms of like having to going from making a case for why mobile is important to like now, everyone recognizes how important and how much of a necessity mobile development and support is. Where now, like she was saying, like you're the one, you're it now, take it over. But I think the most memorable moment in my life when it comes to mobile development is I started out with web development like as a teenager. And once I like kind of experienced what coding was, and I was just like, oh my goodness, like, okay, so what else does the tech industry have to offer for me? And that's when I kind of dove into like mobile development, and then like camera phones were starting to be popular. Like, oh, you got the phone with the camera in it, the video phones, like all of that was like, a big thing. And then like the smartphones, the birth of the smartphones and the iPhone, right? And the iPods and iPod touches and so on and so forth. And I really began to see how, phones were no longer just something for communication. This had become a part of society, right? So now this is a part of like our business, our education, our finances, our entertainment, our well-being, and now our dating lives. So and so I was able to see this back then, and I was just like, okay, when I was planning to go to college, I was like, you know what? All right, this is my path. I'm going to go to school, computer science, and immediately after I graduate, I want to focus in mobile development. I already knew that this is the path that I wanted to take on. And so when I went to college, it didn't end up working out. Like I dropped out of college during the first year, and not necessarily from like me or it being hard, or just like, it was just really like I was a little bit shook on like the culture. And I didn't go to a school that was, that had a foundation for computer science. So it wasn't a lot of support. There weren't a lot of segues for mentorship, for internships, for visibility, for any of those things when it comes to, the computer science field. And so all of that just kind of left me, I'm just starting to learn this stuff. And I just kind of felt like I was alone. I felt like I was left hanging, and there was a lot of different factors. So I left school, and the first thing I did when I left school was go right into mobile development and learning. I'm, continuing my education in iOS development. And that was a highlight for me, being able to start not giving up on that path and that dream of just like, this is still important to me. This is still something that I want to do in my career. And, I see it as a blessing to just jumpstart early. I don't see why the resources are there for me to learn it. And so I dove head in. And so I was able to start my career at 18, 19. So yeah, that was a highlighted moment for me.
Awesome. Thanks. And do you feel like with kind of what you experienced in terms of support or lack thereof with when you were, starting out trying to do computer science, is that kind of what pushed you to start your organization?
Absolutely. That was literally the inspiration for Technical. It was more so like, I wish I had this support coming up. I wish I saw the tech industry for what it really is, and coding for what it really, I was really attracted to it once I, kind of got my hands wet, and just like, okay, it's like, wait a minute. Oh, this is actually fun. This is actually something that I want to do. Like, and I would just it wasn't presented to me, for one, by females. For two, just in an appealing sort of way, like that a girl in elementary, middle, high school would have, been drawn to it. So that was the initial inspiration for Technica. I was just like, no, we need to be able to expose these young girls to what it really is, and just give them resources like, hey, yeah, people like me, You know, you got people like, you know, and I don't have a background, you know, my family's not engineers or anything. So, you know, you got people like me, you got people like these lovely folks. She's an IP attorney. She's a teacher, a CS teacher. So it's just like all these different opportunities, you can find your path in tech. So it was a huge inspiration for Technical.
Awesome. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It was probably, it all made sense after you said that.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you for sharing. Sierra, if you want to highlight a memory of yours for us.
That's a hard story to follow up on. So I just think about some of the reasons I ended up sticking with mobile is I was also coming from like a non-technical background. When I was an undergrad and I was finishing up my degree, they told me I had to take a computer science course to just finish it. Just entry level, like 105. And I was sitting in his office like crying about it. So like that was my relationship with computers before I like let's go get them at JP Morgan. And so what I found with mobile development was it was a very self-contained system, and particularly where I was working, it was a very pattern system. And so it was like very digestible for me with like only like a month of Java training to jump into this Android ecosystem. Get on Reddit, I think people would disagree with me, but like I found it very approachable compared to like an enterprise level banking backend system, which is like the other roles a lot of these folks are being placed in. Like it was too many unknowns for me to like handle that. And so when I came into this role, it was something I could learn fairly quickly and catch on to and feel like I was actually contributing. And I also just feel like there's a really great community in the mobile space now, probably not forever, which also really helps. There's a lot of knowledge sharing, which also like continues your journey a little quicker and makes you feel more welcomed in it. And so I think that those contributed to why I liked it. And the final is that it's really a tangible tech, right? I have a phone, I use apps. The things that I were writing were like consumer facing. You got feedback. My family could use the things that I was doing, which is just a really cool experience. And so those are some of the reasons that I really liked mobile and I stuck with it for so long.
Awesome. Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. That's why I like apps. Every now and then, if I have to like move and help out on someone like a back-end engineer, I'm just, it's so different because I'm like, here's some questions, I guess, about the back end. It's so different. I can't just be like, can you show me what you did on this app? So yeah, it definitely has challenges and I like mobile for that reason as well. Cool. And kind of in a similar vein, but a little bit more work related. So any favorite projects that your favorite project you've done, either whether it be a personal app build or a module you had to do on for a company. Yeah, if you could like kind of shed some light on that and maybe why you felt it was your favorite or really stood out. Aaron, you can go first.
Yeah. My favorite project so far has been Axon Live, which unfortunately did not get launched. It was killed before the product hit market. And it was essentially a two-way radio and evidence capture platform. So this was being developed by Taser. That Taser, yes. They had a side business called evidence.com, which was essentially cloud-based storage for photos and that kind of stuff. And this was really, before a lot of my opinions on law enforcement shifted, but it was kind of meant for public safety in general. So, firefighters would, in theory, use this, emergency responders, that kind of stuff, anybody helping people in need. And it really was just a two-way radio and an evidence system where everything was encrypted and never stored on your device, so that your device was never the copy of record. That gets really important in court cases, when if you use your phone to take photos, that's now the official copy of record. That's the base copy that the court is going to require, which means they subpoena your phone, and that goes into a plastic baggie in an evidence bin. You don't get your phone back. So, it was a really cool project. There was a lot of very complex thread working that kind of had to go on in the background to keep all the encrypted communications going, use the really high quality but low latency voice codec, and just all the encryption going back and forth. It was a really fun project to kind of orchestrate and build from the ground up.
Cool. Sorry, I keep muting myself in between because there's
Yeah,
a
no
lot
worries.
more going on in the background. Awesome. Thanks for going through that. Yeah. And anything that has the word encryption, I'm just like zoned in. I'm like, it's like spy stuff, or it sounds like spy stuff to me. I don't know. Samira, do you want to go
That's
next?
scary.
Yeah.
Let me see. A favorite project, I would have to say it had something to do with ARKit. All my favorite projects have some like I've been really going AR like I've been on like an AR like rave within the past, I would say, year or so. AR has really caught my attention, and being able to utilize like ARKit, it's really kind of boosted my interest in just working with augmented reality. So one of the projects that I've done in the past was basically tried to make an augmented version of Shazam. Okay. And so basically there's like this API, there's a service where you can basically pull from um, third-party libraries. So Spotify, I believe like YouTube Music, like Apple Music, and you can pull from those libraries to kind of create to get the audio like fingerprinting, and then basically you can basically go from there in terms of recognizing the specific tracks. And it gives you basically all that data, right? The artist, the year, and all that other stuff, right? And the fun part was visualizing that, right? So not just making it show up on the interface, right? But making an augmented version of maybe like a billboard. And that's basically what I ended up doing. So, and I never got a chance to launch it, just because I felt like, I got stuck in my own head at that time. I was like, oh, it's never going to be done. But I never got a chance to launch it. Yeah, I'll never just ship it, by the way. That's my advice. Just ship it. But yeah, so basically it was like a billboard wall, the data kind of showed up. So, you would let the phone listen in to whatever record was playing. Let's say it's Rihanna Umbrella. The service would then pick up that data and then display it using dynamic text for the billboard. So yeah, that was probably the most fun to do just because it was like an out of nowhere thing. It was a personal project. And it was just like a spur of the moment, like, what if I did blah, blah, blah. And I had some time, I finally had time to do something like that. So it's always fun when you have time to work on a personal project and you actually execute.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool project. I was gonna say that I'm big into Spotify and all the music stuff, so I'm always like trying to figure out what the songs are, and I'll just try to find one lyric and Google it. So your solution sounds significantly better than that. I was also gonna say, I feel like if you don't know "Umbrella" by Rihanna, the problem is bigger than
Yeah,
what you can solve.
if you got a Shazam
I
umbrella,
was like, you guys Shazam that? I don't know about that, but cool. Well, thank you for sharing, Sierra.
I was just gonna point out that it's October, which is just ship it month. So it's like never too late to like get it out there. Just go.
That's a great point.
I think that the favorite project that I've worked on is probably my current project. It's a little unfair because I came from a lot of financial industries, which has a lot of red tape. So first, this is just the first project that I can like do some really cool stuff and use cool libraries when I want to and can kind of run free with some of that. I use the epoxy library from Airbnb, which is just like super cool in my opinion. So that just like already puts it at the top of my list. It's also a Bluetooth project, and Bluetooth is a very frustrating but fun problem to solve, just like incredibly frustrating on Android. And I've never used it before professionally. So learning that has been an interesting challenge. Fun sometimes, not fun the other times. And then I work with really good people. I work in consulting, and so I have a really great team at my consulting firm I really like, and I'm on a really good project with really good people on site there. So I get 2 really good teams, which is a little unfair to everyone else. So
That's awesome. I was gonna
I
say
want to learn. So yeah.
for Bluetooth is with Android is the struggle just because there's so many different types of devices.
that's definitely one. So you have to fight a lot with lower performing phones. And because of that, the Bluetooth APIs aren't quite as well defined as iOS. There's some things that are guaranteed on iOS when you're sending like Bluetooth between a device and a phone, or device and a different device. And those aren't always guaranteed on Android because someone else could be making your hardware. And so trying to catch all those edge cases and debug it on like that wealth of phone, right? Debugging on Android is just like such a pain because you have like a 250 device matrix that you could technically have that single bug on one phone and you need to figure it out. And when you throw in Bluetooth, now you have 2 devices that you need to debug.
And they have different problems caused by different mistakes made in the Bluetooth stack. Yeah, it's great.
So
I've
it's
dealt
really
with
fun
other APIs like that on
challenge.
Android.
But
Yeah.
whew,
That sounds like
frustrating.
fun's one word, I guess. I
I
don't
can-
know. I always am amazed at what my mobile developers, will say is fun, I guess. Cool. Well,
Programmers are all masochists. Let's just
yes, exactly. It seems to
just
be the
across the
case.
board.
It's the trend, industry trend. But it's funny because I feel like our recruitment team has kind of fallen into that where we're just like have a pretty dark sense of humor as a team. It's kind of our thing. And so it kind of like I think it's completely because we talk exclusively to mobile developers. I'm gonna blame
They're
it.
not that bad.
I don't know.
I mean, it's not my case, but
Cool. Well, the question that we obviously have to talk about is the pandemic. So yeah, I guess like I think Tamira touched on this with how things are with everyone just using mobile phones for everything now. I know I was kind of guilty of it at the beginning of COVID. I've tried to like ease off because I'm constantly in front of a screen now from home. But yeah, I guess if anyone has any thoughts on kind of where they, I guess like their changes they've seen, plus maybe where you see things going if this persists.
definitely more mobile first solutions. I've seen more mobile first solutions coming up, and I think we're going to get more of them going forward. And that's kind of a reflection of the industry as a whole. We're going mobile. Laptops are no longer going to be the thing that everybody has. Like, right now you can kind of expect everybody in the world, they have access to a laptop somewhere, either their friends or their moms or something. I think we're going to get to the point where literally everyone has a phone, and then the first platform will just be the phone because that's the one that reaches literally everyone. We're not quite there yet. We're on the cusp of it, but the moment we get more like primary support for it as a platform, I see a lot of places going, oh, well, we got to do web first. I was like, okay, but what if you did mobile first? Because mobile first will get you the better user experience on the platform that everybody's going to be using it on anyway. So we'll have to see. Web certainly has the advantage of also working on desktops, but that may not last forever, especially as the industry changes and as people realize they don't necessarily need laptops anymore.
Absolutely. I 1,000% agree with just like the spike in mobile becoming more of a priority for a lot of companies and just users in general. I will say that I guess people, who work on web development, they have, of course, they feel like there's a stronger case as well, just because, again, everybody, for communication, people are using Zoom, which Zoom, of course, has a mobile client as well, but people are constantly, they have to get their work done. So anything that has to do with communication, anything that has to do with working, just business as well. So a lot of web apps, working on web applications, like that kind of productivity and like development was definitely it's seen a strike as well. spike as well. And so, mobile is still on the rise, as as it's always been. It's just, again, I feel like the spike has gone up quite a bit. And I feel like it'll continue to go. People feel like 2021 is going to be so different. I'm not so sure. I will say, in terms of like, if you speak of like, Mel, you're a recruiter, like a lot of like recruitment, like been talking to folks from like Twitter, and they're like, yeah, like we need a lot of help on the mobile side. We need a lot of help on the mobile side. Like, we have to be able, like, especially the social media platforms, right? Like, we have to be able to keep that experience going, right? We have to be able to, like, we can't have like our platforms going down, which we've seen a couple times during the pandemic, right? We've seen Spotify go down, we've seen Twitter go down, we've seen Instagram go down, and just like we absolutely cannot have this. This cannot be, it's bad for business. So we need more resources for mobile. So I feel like that's going to continue to increase, needing people with mobile experience, because it's just a necessity right now.
I
If
sure
you
hope
want an
so.
industry that's in demand, learn to do mobile dev. Seriously.
Absolutely.
I think because of that spike, it's really interesting to also see like the choices that those companies are making, particularly because there aren't maybe as many mobile devs as they need. Like, how are they picking a progressive web app? How does that solution compare to like a native app? Like, we're all native developers here, so I think we probably all have a strong preference for that. We see like these hybrid languages, like Flutter up and coming, and if those can meet people's needs. And so I think that's a really interesting thing to look at as you see this spike. It's like, how are they filling those questions?
Which is really interesting too, because I've looked at all those frameworks and they're great. Like, they're really, really great frameworks. The problem is they're always just a little bit behind, and they're always just a little bit inferior. So they're, like,
throwing shade.
Yeah. Well, it's not shade, it's very obvious.
Even a React Native dev will tell you, like, yeah, there are just certain things you cannot do in React Native. You're dropping to a native layer and then doing it native on each platform. And at that point, you're doing your separate implementations again.
The personal hope that, like, as we see the spike, we also see like more emphasis on accessibility on mobile. I think also very behind web on importance.
Holy moly, I've been trying to get people to support dark mode and like text scaling and low contrast and stuff for years. I've been trying to get people to do it. And now it's like 2020, and all like, hey, let's do dark mode, let's do accessibility, let's do text scaling, It gets really frustrating, honestly.
It can be really frustrating, yeah.
At least they're doing it
that
now.
mobile first mindset will push that accessibility and usability first mindset over to our end as well.
Yeah, I'm really hoping.
Yeah. Cool.
Work from home is another one. Everybody knew we could work from home for years. Tech industry has worked from home able for years. Nope, now we have to, and suddenly everyone's like, oh yeah, I guess we can.
Do you guys prefer it? Like, I know I've talked to some developers who are like, I kind of miss the going into the office sometimes. Like, what are y'all thoughts on that?
There's certainly aspects of it that I miss, but at the same time, I don't have to commute. I don't have to even necessarily get dressed from the waist up or from the waist down if I don't want to. Excuse me, that was almost a little bit bad. My favorite drinks that I can stock in my fridge are just a few feet away. I don't have to deal with all the fact that, like, oh man, I have a nut allergy. You will have no idea how many office snacks contain nuts. They all have nuts or nut oils or something. So it's been great.
Yeah,
I love going to the office. I'll be the first to say that. I love going to the office. I love seeing people. I miss it. Like, no commute is great, but like, I miss my coworkers. So.
Oh, I miss the option. To, but I've been working remote for like, oh Lord, I want to say since at least 2017. Yeah, I've been working remote for a long time now. So like, this is like, oh my goodness. And now, like, so before, like, when I was looking for roles, it'd be like, I'm like, yeah, so is it okay? Is there a remote option? And they're like, oh, no, we need you to fly up to San Francisco, which, you know, I live in Los Angeles, and I have been so very much defiant when it comes to moving to New York for a role, moving to London for a role, moving to like you know, I don't want to leave my hometown. I've built my nonprofit here. I've been like, you know, I have my family here, and to just leave for a role, you know, I'm just like, I'd rather just find something else. And I've given up so many opportunities because of just that one thing. And now the whole world's like, hey, you know what? This isn't so bad. You know what? Remote for all. Remote for all. It's actually working. I'm like, yeah, I've been saying that, you know. So yeah, it was frustrating, you know, at the beginning, because it's like people didn't understand that things could work. You can be just as productive. You can be like, or if not even more productive, right? Which is true for some people. And I just happen to be one of those people. When I'm at home, I'm like on, you know, I feel my best, you know. So yeah.
I can certainly understand it being difficult for some people.
Mm-hmm.
My last boss constantly had one of 3 kids running through the background past his. yeah. No, I actually miss the office too, just a little bit. But I don't want it to be the mandatory, right? Like if I could go into the office and work there with my coworkers once a week or something, I would like to have that back. But
just to get all the jokes out.
Yeah. Oh, I tell plenty of dad jokes on Slack anyway. It's fine.
Yes, dad jokes. Cool. Well, I think for this portion, we have like a few more minutes left. So the last thing I really wanted to touch on was to discuss kind of any advice for anyone up and coming in the mobile field. Obviously, you guys are all very experienced mobile developers. So kind of if you have any tips to really have yourself stand out, excel faster within the industry and really grow, would love to hear about that.
Yeah, if you're on Android, learn Kotlin. Java is no longer the thing. It's still used in a lot of places, so you might still need to know some of it. But Kotlin is definitely the way that Android is going. It's a functional programming language. It has a very, very clean idiomatic programming concept, and the threads on it are super, super lightweight. Kotlin coroutines are amazing. I have had no end of developers saying, oh my god, these things are amazing, you can do so much more than you can with Java threads. So definitely learn that kind of stuff. It'll definitely it's easier to do visual Android than it is to do backend Android, and backend Android does require that you know some kind of more complex programming concepts. Specifically threading. You can't do mobile apps without knowing how to multi-thread. So being comfortable jumping off the main thread, jumping back onto the main thread, using something like ReactiveX, RxJava, RxKotlin, can definitely help, but you do need to know how to do it. So yeah, make sure you know that stuff.
Okay, cool. I think someone made a comment.
Coroutines or RxJava.
Yeah.
I prefer RxJava for most like data flow type stuff. But if I'm building kind of a more small module to do like processing, I'll probably use a coroutine to, you know, pull things off of a queue, process them, and send them back off onto another queue if I need to like build it manually. RxJava is my nice clean. I can just drop it in. Or
Cool.
RxKotlin these days.
Wow, times are changing.
Yep.
Yeah, do you have a preference?
I'm team coroutine.
Okay.
I'm very happy to have RxJava almost completely out of all the projects that I worked on. I'm very pleased to be at a point where we can do that. I think RxJava has like a very steep learning curve, and I think most people on the internet will agree with that.
Interesting.
And it does do things really well, and I think that coroutines are harder to do some of the more complicated things because it hasn't been built out. But I think with every Kotlin release, with like Kotlin flows, and you're seeing better support for those. And so my recommendation is learn the coroutines now, because I think just like we moved from Java and we're saying learn Kotlin now, we might still be relying on RX Java, but we're going to be relying on coroutines. So my general advice is just go ahead and learn the coroutines, because I think that's where we're going.
That's probably, yeah. If you had to learn only one, I would definitely agree with that.
Is there a coroutines like equivalent, like that's you can compare, like RX Swift? I know, Tamara, for iOS. Is there?
I was
something
gonna say RX Swift. I have no clue what coroutines is, but I do know RX Swift.
Learned a year ago, so very
Yeah.
Yeah, coroutines are, I guess, best described as like threads without threads. It's a threading concept, but it doesn't actually use the heavyweight thread operating system structure. I'm not super familiar on how like the actual processor handles it, but it results in less switching from one process thread to another. And because it doesn't have to do that jumping, it can switch tasks much more quickly.
Okay.
That's a really, really high level of view, and that's about all I know. That
I'm like, oh yeah,
that I can measure.
Good enough.
They're
Good
very
enough.
fast. They're very fast.
I guess
like there was a question.
back to advice on for young developers.
Oh, I was like, is there a question?
There was a question we had here.
I like advice on standing out. Okay, portfolios. Absolutely. I mean, it's great to be able to explain what you've done. So communication is very much important, like how you built it, why it was important to you, what were the issues that you had as far as building it. But I mean, you need to be able to have something you can point to where you can say, hey, I built A, B, and C, some of your best stuff, your completed stuff. And also just making sure that you're staying sharp, on GitHub, and making sure your repos are well nurtured. And yeah, because recruiters, in my experience, they've kind of looked into those things, throughout my career. And those are the things that, having a great portfolio, networking is a big thing. Now, I understand the state of where we are right now. Networking is very much different than going to a meetup or going to a conference. Now it's like, registering for a conference and saying hi on Slack, on the conference Slack. So, finding these new ways to, network, definitely stay in tune on forums like Twitter, and get engaged in conversations and follow people who are doing things that you're doing and doing things that you want to do. So being in tune and just networking and, making sure that people are able to really identify who you are and what you do. So I'm really keen on like personal branding and all that stuff, right? And I always say, it's not about what you know. It's not about who you know. It's about who knows what you can do, right? And that means that it's more beneficial for me to know you and be able to identify your name with your name or your face, right? To your purpose and your skill set, right? As opposed to me just knowing, hey, that's Erin. Hey, hi, Erin. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. As opposed to me, this is Erin. She's an amazing Android developer. You know what? I actually know of someone who's looking for an Android developer over at, they're looking for him over at Facebook. So maybe I should make that connection. Erin, can you shoot me a link to your website? Blah, blah, blah. Sure. That's how things, kind of go. So do what you can to make sure that people know what you can do. And that's how you stand out. That's basically, it's gotten me very, very far in my career. And, I would say that model is definitely an effective one.
Yeah, for sure. Sorry,
for someone who works, go ahead.
I was gonna say I agree with the keeping up with your GitHub stuff, because nothing gets me as a recruiter more excited than when I open someone's GitHub and it's just like all green. on like contributions for the year. I'm like, oh, this person's great. So
Yeah.
Working full-time, you don't get that as much. A lot of times they require you to have like a corporate GitHub account, and then all those little green boxes go in somebody else's bucket.
Mhm.
You don't get to put it on your portfolio, really. I had an idea though, and I kind of want to pitch it to you all here and get your opinion on it. What would you think about a resume app? Like if you, instead of writing a paper resume, you wrote an app where, you know, you get a list view with cards, and each card is like your work experience, and then there's a different page, and you go over to pages for like your technology and what so then you can kind of present your resume, but then also prove like, hey, look, this is all stuff that I wrote. I have a dynamic list. It has these neat animations. I can do a drawer with my picture and my profile, my name, my contact information, and stuff like that. Is that something you guys think would work well as a
Absolutely.
recruiting tool?
You're
Like if you don't
basically
have a
showcasing.
portfolio.
You're showcasing your
Yeah.
skills, and you're basically showcasing your entire work history. You know, I've had some friends who created web apps that way, right? Where so like their website or their portfolio is interactive, and they're showing like, you know, how they're using, you know, Ajax and all this different stuff to like create these animations and show like all this cool stuff and present the cool things that they've worked on. So I've had some friends work on web apps similarly, but yeah, I don't think I've seen a mobile app in that way. That would be awesome.
It is a little more expensive because you have to like pay the developer fees to get your own dev account. But if you already have one,
But I have one on my GitHub. It's Hire Sierra. I used it to learn Kotlin.
sick.
It was
Hey,
fun.
all right.
I'm not good at coming up with app ideas, so I just like, I'll put my own information in this. So
all right.
updated because it was written a couple of years ago, so it's not up to date anymore with the latest and greatest. But I have done it.
So did it get you noticed?
My current job sent me a link to the unit test in it because I included unit test and said I love test, and now I work there. So
There you go. See, it works. We've proved it.
There you go.
Simple n equals 1. Cool. Okay, I don't know if there's any other oh, Sierra, do you have I guess advice for young developers?
I was just gonna say find a good community to join, which is again just a lot like networking. I think that the Twitter Android community is super nice. I also think that there are a lot of meetups, which I don't know how everyone's handling COVID, but like the GDG meetups are really good for Android. I don't know the iOS equivalent. Women Who Code has a Women Who Code mobile. We're super friendly. We will help you answer your questions. Because I think it's really hard to get started and stay motivated if you're running into problems that you don't know how to solve. And so I think that having somewhere to bounce ideas off of or get pointed in the right direction makes a huge difference of like ramping up your skills in a timely fashion.
Awesome. Yeah, that sounds great. This is all very good advice for young developers. I don't know the demographics of the people that are actually watching this, but hopefully it helps someone. Cool. I don't know if there are any other questions that people have, or that is and shout out to you, Sierra, from someone whose name starts with an M. I can't open this panel.
Madonna something. That is very Sierra. And super amazing.
It's very you, apparently. Cool. Well, I guess, are there any, I guess, other thoughts or anything else people want to talk about? I know we talked a little bit, Tamira, about your organization. Sierra, I know you've been very active in some organizations. Actually, that's why I reached out to you originally. Would you like to get spotlight anything?
That was kind of my spotlight, is I think everyone should join Women Who Code Mobile.
Okay.
They're very nice. I've really enjoyed it. I will personally help you if you reach out.
Link out later. I'll check it out.
Else, no other promises, but so that's my shout out. I'm very involved with them, and it's a really great community.
Cool. Erin, do you have any, I guess, things you want to plug?
Do I have anything I want to plug right now? Not really. My stream is starting up, Twitch stream, shortly. I'll probably be doing some coding projects, some artwork projects, and just some games in between. That's Twitch TV /Erin Knight, Night. first name. Knight. Other than that, not really. Maybe Fable. I'm working for a company called Fable right now. They're doing Spotify for books. If you like socially distanced reading clubs and stuff, fable.co. Yeah, let's go with that.
Okay.
Okay.
Spotify for books.
I'm really bad at plugging things. I don't know. Yeah. It's very, very early right now. You can sign up for a waiting list, but eventually it's going to be, social tools for talking about books together with your friends and with, potentially like celebrities or stuff like that.
Oh, that's cool. Okay.
Like e-reader and social media all in one.
E-reader and social media all in one. I like that as a platform because I mean people have group text probably, but it's cool to be able. You can probably can you like highlight certain parts and like.
That's definitely one of the goals. Yeah, is to be able to highlights and share them around.
Okay, gotcha.
Post quotes to other social medias.
That's really cool. Okay, cool. Awesome. Yeah, I think Elizabeth said she'll get all these links and stuff put together. But well, does anyone have any closing remarks? Or I know we have like 5 minutes, or we can just talk about literally anything. I'm also fine to do that.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and plug my stuff. I have some immediate stuff coming up. For one, my Twitter, I mentioned networking, definitely, reach out to me or just follow me on Twitter at Tamara J. I'm going to throw it up in the chat. So at Tamara J on Twitter. If you want to follow anything that's going on with Technigal, certainly follow us on Twitter as well. Technigal is technical, but with a G. So TECHNIGAL_LA on Twitter. So I'm going to, thank you so much, Elizabeth.
Hey.
So it's in the chat right now. Also, I will be teaching a Swift course on the O'Reilly Learning Platform next week. I will be tweeting out the link probably immediately following this webinar. So go ahead and follow me on Twitter and you'll get the link to register for that for next week on October 14th. It's like a 3.5 hour training on like everything you need to know getting started with Swift. We're going to build cool projects and the whole nine. And let me see. Also, if you're not already subscribed to O'Reilly, if you don't already have like a subscription on with the O'Reilly platform, I can probably get you a free trial link for like maybe even like a 30-day trial link where you can not only have access to my course, but like the entire like O'Reilly catalog with their books and all that good stuff online.
Sweet.
So yeah, definitely hit me up about that. On LinkedIn as well as, so we talked about Flutter a little bit. I actually have a Flutter course coming out with Coursera. It'll be actually a course series. So you want to just start out. We have it coming up at the end of this month. So be on the lookout for that. All this stuff will be on Twitter in the coming weeks. So if you want to learn anything about Flutter, iOS, be sure to follow me. And yeah, I'm always available.
Awesome. Oh, I need to follow you on Twitter. I'll do that. I'll follow everyone on Twitter.
Yeah, I gotta follow you.
Nobody follows me back though. It's the worst.
I'm gonna follow you back.
Yeah. Heck yeah. Okay, cool. Anything else? Anyone else got anything? No? Okay, cool.
No, I think we're good.
I guess the only thing I've got is that if you are an Android and or iOS engineer that's looking for a position, especially at the senior staff level, please reach out. I'll have my email down below. Shoot me a resume and we'll get you in contact, or I'll reach out, or anyone on our team if we're inundated with resumes to chat about some openings we've got for some remote positions on some greenfield apps. So yeah.
But yeah, fantastic. Thank you everyone for joining us. Actually, we did have one last question come through on the chat if y'all want to take that. What do you guys think about hybrid apps or Colton multi-platforms? Hope I pronounced that right.
Kotlin multi-platform. I haven't done a lot with that yet. It definitely has a lot of promise. Kotlin multi-platform is like Kotlin code that compiles down to C so that you can port it from iOS to Android. Haven't seen anybody try that yet. You would still need to write your entire front end in your native language at that point.
I'm super excited about Kotlin multi-platform, and I hope everyone does it because I love Kotlin. I think it's so fun.
I would be really interested to see it like do something. Kotlin multi-platform right now is kind of just on its own. It's just you can do this multi-platform module, and nobody's really figured out what to do with it yet. Once they figure that out, it's going to be really, really cool.
Yeah, like I don't anything Kotlin. I'm like, I'm not your girl. Multi-platform though, cross-platform. I would say. I mean, at this point, I mean, Flutter is great. Flutter has been. It was a surprise. I got into Flutter last year, and it was definitely surprising just how responsive it was. If you're looking to create like really responsive UIs, if you're into that kind of thing, if you're into being able to build it with components and widgets, right? And you're really into material design, Flutter is definitely the way to go. So I feel like Flubber is Flubber. Not Flubber like the movie. Flutter is amazing, and Flubber is amazing as well.
Install Flubber and attempt to bounce your phone around the room.
Yes,
it does not work.
Flubber is just as amazing, I promise.
I've done a lot of reading on multi-platform solutions like React Native and Flutter. They're really good. I'll echo that sentiment. You're never quite gonna get the quality of a native app out of them.
Mm-hmm.
They're great if you're an early stage startup. If you don't have a lot of money to spend on your mobile development, they're a great way to kind of write once, deploy both. I don't think they're a good solution for bigger companies moving larger. In fact, I see a number of companies going the other way and being like, oh, well, we had this React Native solution, we had this Flutter option or solution, but it's just too limiting anymore, and now we're going native. And that's kind of become a trend lately. I still think they're great, again, for when you don't have the resources to do, we're hiring 3 iOS and 3 Android developers and an API developer and, but once you do, it's perhaps time to start thinking about which parts we can move native.
One final plug, if you want to get hands-on with Flutter, I run Women Who Code Cincinnati, and you can find us on Meetup. In our October meeting, we're going to build a Flutter app together. And so for me, and we're really excited about it. So you can open a Hacktober pull request with our Flutter app.
Nice.
Well, yeah, fantastic. Thank you all. I learned so much. I knew a lot of those words and learned some new words as well. So, that's the great part about being able to do programming like this, is that you're constantly connecting with amazing women who are doing amazing things. So again, thank you all for taking time out of your busy day to geek out with us and just have a great conversation. I'm dropping my LinkedIn if anyone wants to get connected as well. And like I said in the chat, I'm going to get connected with the speakers, and everything that they mentioned that they want to share again, we'll send it into the follow-up email for everyone who's registered for the event. Yeah, I hope you all have a lovely rest of your day. And yeah, thank you again, speakers. I hope you all had a lot of fun.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is great.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.